What you've heard so far from the government, assuming you have heard the proposals from the government, have you heard enough to make you change your mind?
No.
You haven't heard, or you don't like the detail?
No, I've heard them. No, I know what the proposal is, but it's not enough to make me change my mind.
Is there anything that the government could do with this internal markets bill that would make you change your mind?
Yes, my objection to this bill is that it invites Parliament to use its sovereignty. Parliament is undoubtedly sovereign in the United Kingdom, but it invites Parliament to use its sovereignty to break international law. And I don't think Parliament should be asked to do that. I don't think the government should have asked Parliament to do that. So the only thing that would satisfy me, as far as I can see at the moment, is if the government were to withdraw from the bill those parts of it which would breach international law. Not all the bill is against international law, but some parts of it are.
Do you think that that is a view that is shared by some in the House of Commons in your party who have said that they will not vote for the bill?
I really have no idea. I mean, it sounds, from what I heard last night on the media, as though a number of those who had previously said they were unhappy are now content. Whether there are some of them who agree with me, I just don't know.
There was a mechanism written into the withdrawal agreement for solving differences that maybe had not already been solved through the earlier parts of negotiation, the joint committee. Do you know why the government has not gone down the route of trying to use that to resolve these tensions?
No, I don't, and you've put your finger on it. My whole argument is that those processes have to be used. In fact, there's an article in that withdrawal agreement which commits both the UK and the EU only to using those procedures to resolve any disputes. It's Article 168. And that's what I think the government should be doing. If it can't reach agreement in the Joint Committee, then the procedure set out in the withdrawal agreement is to go to independent arbitration. That's what the government should be doing, not threatening to break the law.
Why do you think the government has chosen this path, Michael? Do you think it likes the heat that this creates?
I'm afraid you'll have to ask the government that question. I'm not able to see into Boris Johnson's mind.
OK. What about the response that this bill will get if it does get to the House of Lords? So if the Commons passes it, what will be the approach that will be taken in the House of Lords, do you think? I mean, you can't... Will you try to stop it? Will it be deemed to have been in the manifesto or not at all, and therefore the Lords will try to stop what the government is trying to do here?
No, the manifesto was the election and the manifesto were on the basis of this withdrawal agreement. The election was in December last year. This withdrawal agreement was in October. So the government was fighting the election on the basis of this withdrawal agreement. I think the bill will have a really rough passage in the House of Lords. It may be that the last night's concession will satisfy some of my fellow Conservatives, but the Conservative Party doesn't have a majority in the House of Lords. I think virtually every peer who isn't a Conservative will probably vote against it, and quite a few Conservatives, including myself.
Do you think that then this will be delayed in a meaningful fashion in the Lords as we approach December the 31st?
I think that's highly likely.
Will that cause trouble navigating the move into new territory next year? What will the net effect of what happens in the Lords be, do you think?
Well, I think the Lords, as far as I can see, the Lords have the power to block it, not permanently, but they have under the Parliament Act, they have the power to block it for a year. Normally, what happens is that in the end, the Lords give way, and the House of Lords doesn't use that power. But I think on this issue, which is so fundamental and such an issue of principle, I think the Lords may well insist on blocking the bill.
Clearly, Lord Howard, you have objections, as you say, which are based on principle and around the legality of this. Others are concerned about what this does to the prospect of a trade deal with the United States. Joe Biden has said that he's concerned about the Good Friday Agreement. Do you think that the internal markets bill is at risk of jeopardising future trade deals, in particular with the US?
Well, there are clearly concerns in the United States. To be perfectly honest, in my opinion, those concerns are misplaced. I think the Good Friday Agreement is a red herring in all this. In my opinion, there was never likely to be, and there won't be, a hard border on the island of Ireland, whatever is agreed or not agreed. The head of Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, who, as you know, is the principal civil servant in the UK dealing with customs arrangements, is on the record as saying that even if there's no deal at all, there'll be no need for any infrastructure at the border on the island of Ireland. So in my opinion, that's a bit of a red herring. My objection is not to do with the Good Friday Agreement. I'm in favour of the Good Friday Agreement, but I don't think it's at all imperilled by this bill. My objection to it is that it invites Parliament to break international law.